The invention, development, and spread of printing among the vast civilizations of mankind has significantly improved the course of the world's social development. Therefore, printing is also called the mother of civilization. Led by the General Administration of Press and Publication of the PRC and sponsored by patriots from both home and abroad, as well as publishing and printing industries, the China Printing Museum, whose name was given by ex-President Jiang Zemin, was completed and opened in 1996. Taking in an area of 4,600 square meters, the China Printing Museum owns over 20,000 items in total. Currently, it is the largest printing museum with the largest collections in the world. The ancient hall on the third floor systematically reveals the history regarding the origin, invention, and development of printing. During the process, brought on by a life of practice, ancient ancestors of Chinese origin created rich and varied civilizations. Patterns on pottery, the invention and development of Chinese characters, tortoise shells with carved patterns for keeping records, inscriptions carved on bronze, inscribed bamboo slips, as well as silk manuscripts, provided inspiration and conditions and set the stage for the invention of ancient printing. In 105 AD, Cai Luan, who lived in the Eastern Han Dynasty, improved the printing. That paved the way for the invention of printing. The earliest printing was typography engraving. Typography engraving refers to carving out a mirrored image of the characters on a piece of wood. The subsequent printing mirrors the characters back to their proper form, and binding of the pages is done to make a book. Typography engraving was invented in the late Sui and early Tang Dynasty. The earliest existing presswork is the Sanskrit Dharani unearthed in a Tang tomb in Xi'an in 1974. After it was analyzed and studied by experts, it was found to belong to the Tang Dynasty. During the reign of Emperor Cai Zhong of the Tang Dynasty in 636 AD, the printing of the Nuju, a literary work of Empress Zhongsun, was ordered using the typography engraving technique. The period of the Tang Dynasty witnessed the widespread of Buddhism and Taoism. That resulted in a high demand for Buddhist scriptures and drawings. Many non-governmental organs had paid efforts to the substantive paintings of these scriptures and drawings. Especially in the late stage of the Tang Dynasty, along with the thriving business of printing, book markets began to emerge. This is Diamond Sutra, which was made by engraving typography in the 9th year of the Shi Tong, namely in 868 AD. The original one is now kept in the British Library. Delicately engraved, Diamond Sutra features excellent text and pictures, old-fashioned and dignified patterns, skillful ways of engraving, and well-proportioned print density. The result is a masterpiece representing the maturity of typography engraving. Typography engraving reached a climax during the Song Dynasty. During the period of Kaibao, the government printed a voluminous collection of Buddhist scriptures titled Kaibao Zheng, employing the typography engraving process, which had more than 5,000 volumes and used 130,000 pieces of engravings. Hu Yinglin, a scholar in the Ming Dynasty, once pointed out that typography engraving started in the Sui Dynasty, thrived in the Tang Dynasty, widely spread in 5 other dynasties, and was refined in the Song Dynasty. The Song Dynasty is an important period in the development of printing, witnessing 4 inventions in printing circles. Namely, they refer to the paper currency, advertisement printing, copyright, and clay type. This is a copper plate of advertising used for Jinan Liu's needle shop, With the theme of a fairy tale called Chang'er Flies to the Moon, it is the earliest copper plate ever seen in trademark advertising. In the 4th year of Dazhong Xianfu of the Northern Song Dynasty, 18 rich merchants in Sichuan initiated the printing of cash coupons called jiaozhi, which is the earliest printed paper currency in history. In the Ming Dynasty, due to the establishment of a national printing house, printing entered a stage of all-round development. As the most well-known book collector and printing master during the Ming Dynasty, Mao Jin had a collection of tens of thousands of books in his house and hired dozens of workers to copy manuscripts all year round. He owned a large-scale engraving workshop where hundreds of types of books were printed through typography engraving. Of all printed books, the most famous ones are 13 Confucian classics and 17 ancient historical works. Typography engraving approached perfection day by day in the Ming Dynasty, and the technique stepped up to a higher level. At first, it was single-color printing, and then developed into double-color printing, and finally multicolor printing. At the late stage of the Ming Dynasty, multicolor overprinting was invented. Multicolor overprinting refers to a printing method which includes the following steps. Patterns are engraved onto plates of different sizes. Different colors are applied to these plates and are then respectively printed on the same piece of paper to form a variety of levels with different color density after several times of overprinting, thus creating complicated and colorful works. The masterpieces surviving today and printed by this method include Liu Xuan Biangu Jianpu, which was printed by Wu Faxiang in the 6th year of reign of Ming Emperor Tianqi, Shiju Jai Shu Huapu, which was printed by Hu Jiangyan in the 7th year of reign of the Ming Emperor Tianqi, and Shiju Jai Jianpu, which was printed in the 17th year of the reign of Ming Emperor Changjian. During the Qing dynasty, multicolor overprinting was widely used in New Year folk paintings, which inherited as well as improved on the multicolor overprinting of the Ming dynasty. At the beginning of the 17th century, Yang Liuqing of Tianjin became a center of New Year paintings in the north of China, while Tao Huawu of Suzhou developed into a publishing center of New Year paintings in the south of China. Decrees issued by Prince Regent of the Qing dynasty, Kurosia of the China Printing Museum, were printed after Qing troops conquered Beijing. Now it is also called a notice to reassure the public. The printing area of the notice is 50.2 centimeters high and 167.6 centimeters long. The notice is painted and printed at one time through an integral wood engraving. It was analyzed that the notice is the largest work in history by using single-page typography engraving. The invention of typography was an epoch-making process in the development and history of printing. Xian Kuo, a scientist in the Song dynasty, gave the earliest description of the process of movable type in his dream, Pool Essays. During the reign of Emperor Qingli of the Northern Song dynasty from 1041 to 1048 AD, Bi Xiang made movable types by using adhesive mortar. He put these movable types into a fire and changed them into single letters, and then preserved the single letters in wood letter cabinets. When used, these letters were picked out according to the text and arranged on an iron-paneled frame on which a layer of adhesive agents that were made up of well-proportioned pine resins and paper dust was sprayed. The fire made the adhesive agents melt down, and they were fixed on the printing plates after they cooled down. At that time, with some pieces of paper, a printing could be carried out. In the 13th century AD, a scientist named Wang Jian independently designed wooden movable types and asked carpenters to make them for him. In the second year of Emperor Dade of the Yuan dynasty, namely 1298 AD, Wang Jian printed out 100 copies of Gazetter of Jingdi County, each of which had over 60,000 letters, in less than a month and using 30,000 or more wooden movable types. At the same time, he also invented a rotating disc for arranging wooden movable types, which set up sequences through phonology. The wooden movable types of different sizes were placed in 2 round discs that could be rotated. In use, one person read the text and another person rotated the disc to pick up the types required. This greatly improved the working efficiency. Early in southern Song dynasty, people in China made movable types through the use of copper and tin to print books. In the middle stage of the Ming dynasty, printing using copper-made movable type plates was widespread. The most famous person who printed books through copper-made movable type was Hua Shui from Wuxi. The Royal Institution of the Qing dynasty for book printing was established in Wuying Palace. There, the printing reached its summit in the reign of 3 emperors, Kangxi, Yongzheng, and Qianglong. In the Qing dynasty, Wuying Palace was a place especially paying attention to the printing through movable type plates. Rare series from Wuying Palace, covering 138 different types of books and having 2,300 volumes, were printed using over 250,000 Chinese jujube-made letters of different sizes of movable type. The emperor designated book collections from ancient days, printed by copper-made movable type, and had 10,000 volumes. After China's invention of typography, it immediately spread to neighboring countries. It is from the beginning of the 13th century that typography was transmitted to the West along the Silk Road. The wide application of typography greatly promoted the progress of society and culture, becoming a commonwealth for mankind. The modern hall on the second floor comprehensively reveals the development of printing in modern China. From the late stages of the 19th century, some insightful people in China began initiating the modern printing industry, which included the commercial press, the Zhonghua Press, and the Wentong Publishing House. In 1932, there were 5,000 staff working in the commercial press, rendering it one of the largest publishing and printing enterprises in China, as well as all of Asia. On the 28th of January in 1932, Japanese invaders waged a notorious war in Shanghai. And Japanese warplanes attacked and destroyed the commercial press, damaging hundreds of rare books and publications from the Song and Yuan dynasties to the Ming and Qing dynasties. A precious object at the China Printing Museum is a rare hand printing machine, which was restored after this national calamity. It serves as evidence of that historical moment in time. Now people visiting the China Printing Museum can see a demonstration of book printing by this hand printing machine, which also serves as a reminder to the historic suffering China endured from Japan's military aggression. It also encourages people to rejuvenate our nation by dedicated hard work. The Red Army established bases in Jiangxi in the 1930s and at the same time founded the printing house where the first batch of books and paper currency were printed. The China Printing Museum has a batch of rare collections of this period, including printing machines on horsebacks meeting the needs of war, as well as papers from the War of Resistance against Japan, a final issue of the Shanxi Chahar Hubei Daily, and a first issue of the People's Daily in 1938. The printing industry in China entered upon a new stage. The central government put forward a 748 project of Chinese Character Information Processing Engineering in 1974. Wang Xuan wrote the description of Chinese character precision photo setting system of 748 project in 1976. The photo typesetting controller designed then became the core of Chinese character photo typesetting. In 1987, the homemade Guanghua Type 3 laser photo typesetting system was widely used in production at the printing house of the Economic Daily, instead of using type font, which marked Chinese society's saying goodbye to the historical course of type and fire, promoted the development of the whole civilization of Chinese character, and played an important role in the history of Chinese printing. The exhibition area for masterpieces in the new century is located in the central part of the Digital Technology Museum. The new achievements of excellent printing enterprises in our country, as well as the elegant printings winning various printing awards at home and abroad, are displayed in the ring-shaped exhibition shelves. The exhibition area of Germany Gutenberg Museum is a permanent exchange exhibition hall set up by both the China Printing Museum and the Germany's Gutenberg Museum. Hundreds of elegant exhibits from Germany display the brief history of printing in Germany and Europe since the 15th century. There are more than 70 kinds of printing machinery collected in the Printing Equipment Museum at the China Printing Museum, including all kinds of printing equipment covering the last 150 years since the middle of the 19th century, showing the development and history of printing machinery. Here are precious hand-printing machines produced in London, England in 1865, as well as precious dual-color offset printing machines with a large format and double full pages, manufactured by the United States Mealy Company in 1926. The first homemade single-page and single-color machine and the first homemade four-color offset press are also displayed here. These big machines filled with power in the old days now only lie quietly in the museum, but their glory doesn't fade, and it seems that we can still hear the sounds of them working. Since its establishment, the China Printing Museum has made outstanding achievements in exploring, carrying forward, and promoting the printing culture. In 1998, an exhibition titled Glory of Chinese Printing was held at the Hong Kong Cultural Center at the request of members from Hong Kong's printing industry. The well-known people in the Hong Kong printing industry attended the opening ceremony, and more than 5,000 people from all circles attended the exhibition. In 2000, our museum also held the Exhibition of Ancient Chinese Printing Culture in Vienna, Austria, receiving more than 6,000 visitors from Austria and Europe during the 5-day exhibition. In 2000, the China Printing Museum and the Gutenberg Museum in Mainz, Germany established a long-term exhibition relationship. From then on, a long-term exhibition area of ancient Chinese printing has been set up in the Gutenberg Museum. And correspondingly, an exhibition area of Germany early printing has also been established in our museum. In 2001, the 7th World Print Congress was held in Beijing, and numerous international friends visited the museum. In 2006, the large-scale exhibition of Glory of Chinese Printing, a miniature of the origin, invention, and development of Chinese printing, was held for 10 days in Manhattan, New York, in the USA. Through the exhibition, the American people learned about the 5,000 years of splendid Chinese civilization, as well as the great contribution the invention and innovation of printing made to the progress of human civilization. The exhibition of Glory of Chinese Printing has also visited Russia, Australia, and Taiwan during recent years, which makes people from all circles acquainted with the civilization of printing and plays a positive role in promoting the Chinese printing culture and spirit of innovation and enhancing the international cultural communication.